cases on the desk. So Frankie Levin Mini, let me know what you got to say.
And I love to hear those beautiful voices.
So again, chat, if you want to see V-Bucks, type the word heal in chats. All you got to do, anyone can win. You only got to type it in once.
Props to Jiras's trio for finishing that one off. That's probably
We're doing this after every game today. EU, Central, and West both days. I'm doing a lot of V-Buck giveaways.
1v1 with the weapons in the N11.
I was gonna say, longest healer. You weren't back with the pizza times, Frankie. Those are so long healers.
I remember the parties.
Goodness. The pizza parties, yep, the pizza parties.
Pretty quickly.
Oh.
I will say, big congrats to Geras' team for that win. Big ups to Miniminer for calling them out as a team he thought could do it. But shock, Geras' team wins a Canyon Crossing zone game. Wow, who would have ever thought? I mean, like, it's really funny. For the people who might not get what I'm talking about here, there has been an ongoing theme with this team. This team has looked very impressive all throughout this year, right? They've looked like a sleeper team and a team who have been able to put on great performances at times. But one of the key...
All right, 10 more seconds, chat. Type the word heal in chat. You want to see V-Bucks, then we'll call it.
Perform incredibly well. It's that it's a Canyon Crossing zone. They obviously land Canyon Crossing. They're very familiar with the area, and they just have it figured out. If the zone's pulling here towards the end of the game, Miniminer, you can expect to see these guys way up there in the standings.
Yeah, sometimes teams can actually struggle when zone pulls all their way.
True.
They're not on
they do
move.
so,
They're
yeah.
not trying to find Storm Surge tags.
Not we're trading anymore, though.
Everyone else is sort of coming to
we'll
them,
call it there.
They have it all just down to a T. And yeah,
Before
like
trading, getting zone was actually sometimes worse for your Surge, but now that we got trading, it's perfect.
Can qualify for globals, maybe not get in that sort of top 3 echelon of the leaderboard, but definitely a globals.
Pink's not having a good day one. No, Pink's getting some pretty rough zones too.
Well, I'd like to take a look at the leaderboard, but we can't do that until we've had a break. So
thank you, Akito, with the tier 1. Thank you. Savage only 17 points behind land call right now. Ooh, let's go, baby. We'll check in a second. Let's go. What's up with Mally? Just contesting. Queasy not going very well, man. Malibuca's team is not doing well at Demons. I've enjoyed this grand so far. So have I. It's also going to be very exciting on NA. Last chance to make land is always so exciting. Question, what makes a drop spot really good to not best when it comes to professional games? I mean, like, positioning on the map, the more central you are, the better, because it just cuts down the zone RNG. If you're on the edge of the map, it's just if zones don't pull towards you, it's a nightmare. Right now, it's how many excess meds you have to invest into trading Surge, the positioning you have to be able to spot other teams and trade Surge, the amount of loot you get in general, the efficiency of that loot. There's no point having 100 chests if it takes you 20 minutes to loot them. Material count, being able to get your whole team 5-5-5, relatively easy. And then basically your proximity to major mid-game objectives. So things like Spires to get exotic weapons, the island to get medallions, things like that, man. It's basically just an overall, like, encompassing of all those factors. If you were a big name and you're holding down a drop that is also a very bad spawn fight, that can help. Like, Supernova is a great example. Supernova, while having really solid loot, is more likely to be held down uncontested by Clix and Phrodoxy, because if you contest them, it's a miserable fight where you basically know you're both going to lose because it's so drawn out, but... Okay, chat. Spoiler alert, chat. I'm going to show you a spoiler from the event we're going to watch after EU. And apparently, it's making us feel less confident about the event not affecting Demon's Domain. Apparently, this event that's going to happen is not going to affect Demon's Domain.
The power of the mask is mine.
It's kind of cool, though. I'm actually kind of excited for this. We will be watching this event today, by the way, chat. Okay. So far, this hasn't changed the POI too much, other than the fact that the building is already gone, but that's fine. Okay. So the only way this doesn't affect Demon's Domain is if they don't do this in competitive. So they basically told us that, I guess we're going to leave EU Grands. We're going to go watch the event. In the event, we're going to watch Demons get fucking destroyed. But then we're going to jump back into Grands and the building's going to be back. I think that's the only way this works, is they're going to have to run Grands on a different version to what they're running the regular game on. And that really concerns me. I don't know if I trust them to pull that off without messing it up.
Really
I'm extremely concerned right now.
Tayson's
Well,
team, Mini Miner.
in a couple hours, we're going to find out.
Doing well, and this is a team
Let's
we can't sleep on
go.
anymore.
Yeah, I mentioned it going into this game that potentially they might have a little bit of a wobble now. That's been their sort of historical trend this season. But
And the problem is we have no region to test it. Brazil got moved back to the same time as NA Central. So there is no FNCS from when that event happens until NA Central Game 1. So if they mess it up, we're going to find out Game 1 of NA FNCS Grands. I love it.
Absolutely, man. I mean, there was a time where you couldn't talk, you know, EU FNCS without mentioning Tayson's name. And
I have a solution. Remove Crime City. How does this affect Kanata? Surely Kanata has to get screwed in this somehow. It's just tradition.
I mean, two very impressive games.
Could try to run, the tournament settings for scrims, maybe, yeah. Yeah, maybe.
If they can just hold on,
We might be able to give that a try and see what happens.
To the back end of the tournament tomorrow, you know, really looking good for themselves here. So I want to see them continue this momentum.
Somehow, like, the building just explodes, the debris just cuts into Crime City, destroys half the loot.
Freer play style, I suppose, than what we saw from them last major in Major
Right, how
2.
we
And
looking?
it's actually nice to see them playing with that little bit.
Okay, steady. Still got a lead over second. It's getting cut back a little bit, but still very, very good. Steady almost on 300 points. That's phenomenal start for Steady. Triss on 243, Vanya 222, Nathan 202, and Vico 196. Okay, that top 5 now. Top 6, 7 even. 8 actually. Now the leaderboard's looking a lot more like people expected.
It's on day 1, Levin.
This is
Yeah,
much
they've
more
been
what we
playing
were expecting.
Incredibly well. I'm a big fan.
What time's the live event? It's right after EU Grands, so.
At times it's not been the cleanest, right? There's been a couple games where
unlucky.
these end games, things
Bye
look
bye,
a bit
chat.
scrappy,
It was not worth it.
But these boys will scrap, right? And look, we know Yapko can do it, right? Yapko was doing it on NA.
Think Superman's
for
gonna
a whole
inspire.
year, and we saw
I don't
just
even know
how
Kid Wicked.
potent
Superman
he
is supposed to
with
come and save it,
firepower.
I guess,
We
so
know
we'll
Panzer
see.
Can do it. You know, top aimer. We've seen him do it this season when he was, or earlier this year when he was playing with Mongo and Savage. Seti's showing up as well, though, and I think that's the huge thing, right? Where Seti maybe gets relegated at times to being this player who's just known
incurable
for his
disease? Oh, no, it's
smarts and
definitely
his
curable,
being
trust me,
ability
we're
to
good.
lead. But no, he can shoot his weapon as well, and he's doing that here well today.
Can I ask you guys quickly, did you expect this to be the trio where we really got to see Panzer settle in and get the results? Because he didn't do badly.
With a good
Thomas
old
and Lachlan,
purge.
Obviously with Savage and Mongo earlier in the year. But for me, it's just really interesting to see him find his feet and his focus, Minnie.
Yeah, I mean, it's great that he is. In terms of, was I expecting this trio to be the one? Definitely not. But it's great that he can play with these players that do have experience, kind of unlock his ability, and just able to frag out like we know he can. Now, though, the question for me, that's their first sort of wobble on.
Is there a list somewhere that people already called globals on EU? I think we might have a command for it. If not, I think Fortnite does have a table
I'm interested to see how
outlining
they
it.
respond now.
One
'cause
sec, champs,
they've
go to the
been
bathroom.
smooth sailing so far.
We got to look at Vanya, Pixie, and Maris. They're in 3rd place, but they need to up their game a bit because no eliminations, Levin, in that last game.
Yeah, similar to Seti's trio, sort of having their worst game of the day here in Game 4. And so again, it's about, you know, how are the reigning champs going to respond, right? They're still in a good position. It's not like we're at a stage in the tournament where that one game has now thrown everything off completely. They're still sitting in a good point, but you can't allow this now to become a pattern.
No, not when you got Pixie on your team. I imagine there'll be a lot more eliminations in game number 5 as we head to Taco and Takata.
Thanks, Frankie. Just a couple games left for day 1. Don't worry, we still got day 2 with 6 more matches, but the leaderboard keeps changing. The only thing that's staying is that number 1 spot with Seti and his trio holding on strong. Shout out to CZB X-Force, Nathan. They did a good job to put themselves in 4th place, but it's constantly changing, Taco.
Yeah, and that's just the nature of competitive, but we'll get a chance to see what changes happen next here in Game 5.
Hey, you see? You think he smirks?
Regarding changes,
Venom with the Prime?
Demon's Domain, there was an interesting switch up off the start, and it's that
Hey, Trash Panda?
Malabuka versus Queasy. They weren't going head-to-head for the rare chest on the top of the main building in the POI.
Let's see how they take it now. See if they show Savage getting conned as well would be nice.
Really poor drops and just forfeited kind of a drop, or if it was a trend that we'll see for the rest of these matches, but I'm excited to see how that does end up playing out here.
I think the more interesting development, though, with Demon's Domain is last lobby was really the first time we saw a true jump.
Ooh,
into
Savage
the
might be
mix of a
unconned
third
again?
party trying to, just put their foot in the
Interesting. Wait,
doorway.
what?
Kind of remind both of these teams, whether it's Queasy, whether it's Malabukas, they don't care. They're
Savage
willing to pick
uncontested.
apart
Rax has already left
whatever
again.
isn't settled fast enough. And
Oh
Demon's
no,
domain,
Malabuka's trying to drop for the top
Queasy
again, but Malabuka!
just behind
Malabuka has good drop.
Guess who gets the chest first? And
Queasy goes underneath. There's nothing.
Mad Dash
Oh,
immediately
Mustache
dropping.
gets it though, bro.
Just
Mustache takes down Malabuka.
to solidify
Oh, kind
more
of sad
than
to
just that
see,
one
but
him.
wow.
Malabuka getting knocked there.
Dude, Malabuka's
Watch
off-spawn
him
rep is
follow.
in the toilet. The
And this
season before
is
Globals, this is
exactly what
bad.
Queasy, Mustache, and Swizzy
This
were
team is
hoping
so good, but it is
would've
going to
been
be
the place in the last
so
lobby.
hard for them to get a good drop for
Find the
Grands now. I mean,
clean
Globals now.
Queasy's
Good
finish.
gosh.
And Demon's
Wow.
Domain just continues to be ruled by Queasy, Swizzy, and
Oh
Mustache.
boy.
Yeah, quick cleanup once again.
They got mauled by OC. That's what I'm saying.
Trio
Like,
really
it's
got
just, yeah.
the upper hand.
I
but
guess it has been
so
cooked.
far
You're
it
right.
has been pure domination from Greasy, Mustache, Swizzy. Malabuka will have a whole day and one more match.
How you doing, Reed? How you feeling for today, dude?
This trio, what they want to potentially change up going into day 2, because right now it's not working out for them.
It is
Well,
not
it's
working
also
out
a
for
little
them,
bit of mind
indeed.
games coming to play now for some of these teams in these early engagements. Cringe, Volko, Vadil.
Whole night to kind of prep and figure out what you might want to change up. For Tayson, Chicho, and Haris, though, Levin was talking about it ever since they qualified to the Global Championships. They've been a bit kind of, I don't know if I'd say under the radar, but not talked about as much. And now in potential for taking that first place spot once again. Looking quite strong.
A little bit of EU Kanata action, if you really think about it. But Tayson, he has his own established name for a reason, Takada. And even with these last 2 lobby performances, Tayson, Atris, and Chicho, they know what kind of turmoil lies in store. Dealing with the overnight experiences, all these teams are going to be surely drawing immediately towards these VOD reviews, trying to figure out what went south, how can we turn things around for day 2. Zangy, Belusi, and Rax choosing to resort towards a little bit more of a sneak method here at Crime City. And Atris, he unfortunately might be the first victim, and sure enough, that trap was just too heavy. 1 versus 3, those odds are always going to be very difficult to actually get out from, but this is a very different look, though, for Zangy, Belusi, and Rax, and these are the kinds of changes that you have to anticipate in a major grand final setting, Takada. Teams that normally would not be here, they're going to start interrupting your loop path strategies. Nobody is safe.
Nobody. I'm unlucky. I mean, Haris kind of had the best position you could be in for the surprise, breaking the roof into the chest, but he dropped right into it without looking beforehand. You really just don't expect a full trio to be waiting there by a chest, but you have to expect the unexpected in these major finals lobbies. You said it yourself, how much prep actually goes into them. So far, Flixie. Just to be waiting on somebody.
Well, we get to actually tune back in to see what we missed out. Brutal Boxcars challenge very early on for Doxy's team. They have made a rapid adaptation towards their early rotates, and Brutal Boxcars, they gave Pradaj Kantry and Fincheck a break and went straight towards the source of Veno, Vico, Flixie. That is a big loss, though, for Flixie, having to play for the reboot instead to get his teammates back up and running. Yapko City Panzer all the while at Lone Wolf Lair. A little bit of a triangle surge setup, but all completely separate teams. This is a big reason why we're seeing some of these surge numbers kind of just escalate way up in the charts, and that's where a lot of pressure is applied towards teams like Savage and Reason and Chap. Initially uncontested at Resistance Base, but we are seeing them be infiltrated a lot sooner than what they'd maybe been expecting. At the same time, though, so many of these players, they always tend to develop strategies for when these uncon turn into con situations.
Always be ready for what can happen. Reason, Savage, Chap thought they were going to get a solid game but ended up falling quite early in the previous match. And like we've mentioned previously, even though Vanya gets knocked here, it's not too much of an issue. He's not going to get pushed. Ooh.
Prodoxy and Pablo are on the move. Prodoxy was tagging somebody up pretty heavily with those kill switch revolvers. And now it seems clear that they wanted to get a little bit more damage application, and it's because of the reboot. Flixie, they departed Brutal Boxcars just long enough to let Flixie play through the reboot so they could one more time just forcibly shut down Veno, Vico, while they're still injured.
That's crazy. As they continue now to apply that pressure. Getting up close and personal, shots coming from multiple angles. Burning through mats as Flixie takes a big shot, getting knocked down. Chino, Pablo, Fred now getting extra aggressive. Veno falls shortly after, and it's all up to Vico in a 1v3.
It is a tough break here for Vika. Yeah, this is not the loadout you want to see. And at this point, it's only a matter of time before they eventually tear apart the train station enough to expose where Vico is at. But a player like Veno, you know he's going to be out for revenge against Prodoxy's team. This will pay a price potentially in the future. But for right now, it's all Pablo, Prodoxy, and Chino laughing their way to victory at Brutal Boxcars. That is a huge win. And to shut down Veno's trio so early on in this lobby, that's another one of our teams inside the top 10 of the leaderboard, Takata, that are forced to sit this one out early.
Yeah, not great looks, but you know, on the other hand, good looks for Pablo, Fred, and Chino. They had a pretty good start, but started picking things up in the last match with their 7th 10 elim, so hopefully now they can get another back-to-back decent match here. Axe Force, CZB, Nathan, similar situation. Now in the 4th place spot, looking incredibly strong, so they do not want to go down early here as CZB has been knocked by Teeny. I'm hoping it's a long-range knock, but we'll see.
If you have to think about it, the answer is probably too far away for it to make enough of a difference just yet. But hold tight, because Cammy, iDrop, Hadi, they are in a very tough position here. They want to push towards that edge of zone, but they're going to have to make a wraparound play instead. They do have the Menace Grenade to depend on, but this team, we saw a glimpse of greatness at the starting point, but now it's just about locking in the consistency. Teams elsewhere also still trying to keep their footing sound and secure. Chap, Reason, Savage directly underneath the Rift Island spawns right now, though. They're fully aware of the fact that they've got company.
Kind of following through the tarp, the tunnel, to see what they can find. Nothing so far, though. Dash is going to get reset. Looks like they're actually a bit hungry for it. They know they have that upper hand, and they're going to get aggressive with it. The bush right on in. Chap, without even looking, takes down Sined. Reason following with another elimination shortly after, and the full trio gets cleaned up.
Yeah, that slide by, secured knock there from Chap is the real disruption. That's all they needed. Close out that exchange rather quickly. That's going to buy them a lot of time for setting up for their next movement. But right now, we got to tune in, see what's taking place. We've been talking about those French natives, Takata, and wanting to see some of them qualify to that global stage. But for Kurama, Werex, and Akira, they are a team that's just looking to take whatever measures necessary to keep setting themselves at just one placement further. And they've got what it takes, that's for sure. And a lot of teams, a lot of fan favorites would love to see some French natives go through.
They really would. They're kind of head-to-head with Sato on the leaderboard in 9th and 10th, so hopefully one of them can make something happen here. As we look at the top 5, Tayson, Chicho, Harris in a beyond comfortable position.
Just looking back, controlling the rotates of the teams behind them. Chicho and Tayson, though, they've got their work cut out for them. They're still gonna have to play for the reboot eventually. Interesting though to see the developments taking place for Forstroki and Kiroi and Bevies. We've seen them in the previous lobbies, kind of looking to be more of that third-party intervention factor, but now dealing with Perhala, Maziak, and Kaisers, when you're trailing teams along these soft edges of the zone, Takada, you've always got to be wary of them just boistering up on these sides of the mountain faces and holding you too.
You really do. That's Forstroki and Kiroi. Making shots where they can, but gonna continue with the rotate. Now we'll take a look at what is going on with Swizzy Merstash from the quick finish at the start. To now playing once again their safe rotate to zone, but maybe a potential few tags. A little bit of extra damage, but no, so far it's a pretty safe route.
Whole lot of trigger discipline there too from Swizzy. He contemplated it, and he might have even been able to connect onto those teams that were gliding in, but they trust in Queasy to not lead them astray. And the rotate is now underway. This is a very deep dead side rotation, though, from Queasy, Swizzy, and Merstash. They've got to be feeling really confident about their surge threshold after that off-spawn battle.
Another trio feeling confident. Giras, Krennic, Venus kind of in a pretty safe position, to be fair. Right north of their drop spot, Canyon Crossing. Levin was talking about it. When they pull zone, they're extra comfortable, and it looks like they might be able to do it once again. You can see the amount of med kits that are stacked up, the amount of extra loot. Because now it's just a waiting game.
Not only that, but it's also nice knowing that you have those launch pads just in case you don't feel as if you'll be able to get to where you want to be as fast as you could be. But Seti, Yepko, that last lobby was their first stumble, and without Panzer, that's definitely going to be a pretty big delay in terms of how they're setting up for their mid and end game. They've got to basically just go on a recovery tour here, and they've got to try and elude the rest of the lobby that's taking notes of this team that's diving back into the storm. They're fully aware of the fact that these guys are clearly trying to make a play for reboot, man. Let's try and get whatever surge tags we can.
How much will they commit to it, though, is the big question. As we look back over to Trexer. Had a nice kind of finish to the last game, staying up. Now with his full trio, though, hopefully they can get a bit further. Playing edge of zone now, should have opportunities from players rotating on in.
Just overhead, though, you've got to make sure that you're keeping all of your angles covered. Something that Cheatin is definitely wary of. Trying to prevent himself from taking any kind of tag damage from these awkward side angles. So many different teams starting to really build up and surround around them, but Prodoxy, Pablo, Gino, still hanging out by Foxy Floodgate. And they've got some impressive loadouts to work with here, Takada.
That they do, and they've had it time and time again. It's the Oncon Supernova Academy. They've really got more than enough loot each game, and not only that, eliminations alongside it. They're incredibly efficient with their off-spawn, instantly go for the pump power aggression or, you know, any kind of surrounding area, and they've been incredibly successful with it so far. As Vanya, Pixie, and Marius as well, slowly climbing themselves up the leaderboard, despite having little rough end games of players always going down, kind of seem to be clutching it as duos, solos. So hopefully one of these matches we can have the full trio looking strong. This could be the one.
A little friendly tag there from Marius onto Savage. Although it might have actually done Savage's team a favor, gave them the heads up. There is another team potentially looking their direction. It's going to cause them to come to a little bit of a slowdown procedure. They're still trying to play for that wraparound, trying to avoid as much attention as possible, but same can't be said for Mappy, Trexer, and Cheatin. They are in the heart of battle right now up against Snazy, Ice, and Clement. And this fight could definitely dictate how these endgames are going to pan out for both of these teams. Trexer and Mappy, they definitely need this refresh. Snazy also looking to get things started on the right foot, but Snazy instead doesn't know which way to turn, just getting pressured from 2 different sides, and that's going to be the first collapse here, as now Trexer trying to see if he can fight his way out of the box, but Clement picking up the pieces. Clement, 2 eliminations already. He just needs to find this last one onto Mappy. He's got the HP advantage and everything else working in his favor, but Mappy has done just enough to delay it and cheat in. He might not have enough HP to actually withstand this. He will have to fall back and wait for some assistance out of Mappy. But Clement, even with the HP advantage, you're still 1 versus 2 scenario. And I'm sure he wants to try and play for a reboot. Oh my gosh, it's falling apart though for Savage.
Talk about an elimination. Panzer taking out Savage and his whole trio. What a way to go down. This is not the part of the match you want to get eliminated in, and to the hands of Panzer, Yapko and Seti. This is going to be a tough one.
But Chop's not finished here. Panzer, Yapko, they've got to now tackle Chicho. They've already managed to take care of Tayson, and just like that, knocked over like dominoes. Chicho really expected a little bit more bite back there, but Yapko and Panzer confidently handling themselves. And those are big clutch instances. That's sure to light a fire when they reboot Seti for them to pull through strong in this lobby.
Yeah, making it look like an arena match for a second there, with how quickly they closed out that fight, not only once, but twice against 2 of the most solid trios of the lobby. Being able to reboot Seti, they're going to be looking for a big match here. All they got to do is focus on the rotate, get into zone now. They have more than enough of everything else. Axe Force, CZB Nathan looking to hold on to their spot on the standings as well. 303 above. Congested side, though. There's a lot of trios surrounding them.
And CZB already being focused out by the teams that are just positioned on these hillsides. They do have a lot of material, though, Takada, so they can definitely afford to continue wrapping around. It's just how much do you really want to be forcibly burned out of your builds? So that will be a misform just to cut across some open space here. But CZB getting caught out, just trailing a little bit too far behind the rest of his team. He was nearly taken down. Curious if he's actually going to be able to outlast the pressure that was being applied there from that rear flank, but Yapko, Panzer, Seti, they're all back up and running. And Kurama, if he's not careful, he might find himself in the crossfire there out of Yapko and Panzer. Seti definitely looking for some form of a refresh. He would love to get everything restored because they need more damage. They're just sitting above the threshold right now, Takada, and Seti will reunite with his team. Just too many teams rolling up into the vicinity, preventing them from closing in.
This could be huge, though. A sandwich opportunity between Akira. Right down the middle, it's Hizix, Howley, Dandy. They're caught in the pressure. Each side playing shot after shot. Seti, Yapko, Panzer has now put themselves 277 above from those shots. Connecting Akira is going to be the one that secured that elimination, though. And now, from seeing that the zone is a little far, they're going to choose to most likely take the rotate here instead of finish off the eliminations.
Hizix managed to crawl pretty far away from where all of this fighting is taking place. And Kurama and Akira thought for a moment they might be able to help him out, but no, he was definitely taken down and spotted out. Yapko, Panzer just continuing to try and stay ahead of where Howley and Co are at, but they're running smack dab into the center of Cantry and Pradaj. And this might be a chance now for Marius, Pixie, and Vanya to maybe take out one of our leading contenders, but first, they want to finish off by Frozy.
Oh my gosh.
Just gets trapped inside of Marius' box. Nowhere left for him to run. Marius gonna toss that one through. 2 bodies collected, and Marius with these 3-headed just diving up and under and over the wall to get these tags in. It's doing so much damage, but he's got to be real careful that he doesn't get picked off along the way.
That Superman Sprite doing its job, applying that pressure as Vanya, Pixie, Marius still up as a trio. This is exactly what they needed. Last time they fell during the high ground retake. We'll see that ends up happening once again. A quick replay to who was actually applying the pressure with the Superman Sprite. It was Seti, Yapko, Panzer. They needed that damage though, and after getting the knock, they didn't full commit to the elimination, but they got what they came for.
Seti needs a refresh though. That material count was way too low. He didn't really have any healing resources either in his loadout. Hadi, Cammy, iDrop also potentially caught out with very little material to work with. There's just so much open space for teams to roam. If you don't have mobility at this current stage, Takada, and if you don't have the surge damage, you are just going to get lobbied, and that is all that Hadi, Cammy, and iDrop are doing right now. Jewel and Ghost, current victims of the pressure being applied right now. Hyper also being cleaned up, and what's crazier still, these eliminations not even going to Cammy's team, by the way. Kudo being largely the one credited, and that's another issue too. You never know when your knock is just going to be picked up by somebody else entirely.
Yoink. It's part of the game though, as Merstash, Swizzy, Queasy continue on through. Mistform getting used, good amount of damage, good amount of loot, heals, mats, everything they possibly need. They just cannot get caught off guard here, cannot get lobby focused, but with one of the best IGLs in the world lead them, hopefully they should be able to find a clean way in. Pradaj gonna be the team and the top of the mountain as Queasy, Merstash, and Swizzy use another Mistform to get closer.
And they're so blocked though. The pre-existing build is just doing them a solid here, keeping them out of the line of sight from Pradaj and Country. I did see Fincheck though, a little bit closer to where Queasy was at, so that could get dangerous at a moment's notice, but Pradaj just continuing to try and extend their presence on this hill face. All members of this trio currently looking different directions for more damage.
Pantry is doing a great job here, not going to where the zone's pulling yet, but instead trying to block off all the trios that could potentially rotate through that top side to give them a free rotate here onto zone. As now Seti's second height kind of looking around, seeing the potential options, but with the pressure getting applied by Pradaj and Co, they might be running low as Fincheck getting ahead quickly, and it looks like they might just be able to hold on. The issue is they're gonna need a refresh and they need more damage.
And the other problem too is that they're not even fully entirely on the front side just yet. They still have to deal with Queasy, Merstash directly underneath. Cammy, Hadi, also under heavy fire, but the secondary height layer, that's what Sweezy, Merstash, and Queasy were really after. It might be a little bit cut off here though. Yapko, Panzer, Seti also holding on to the secondary height position, but they've prevented Queasy from being able to continue tunneling forward. Queasy knows this is a bit of a risky play here. They might even opt to just go for a full-on layer switch. They could just even try for the ultimate high re-tackle, but that zone pull back for a moment here, and Queasy gonna send it forward off the Mistform. Country, Fincheck, Pradaj. They invested so much for height, and they've managed to maintain it for the time being. Panzer has been a victim, though, of this secondary height madness, but it's really Fradoxy, Pablo, and Chino who are out here to shine.
Panzer is getting knocked down as well. I saw some wood builds up above. They're going to be putting themselves into pressure shortly if they aren't able to find a refresh. Seti playing as a duo with Yapko after losing Panzer. Now they're forced to move forwards as a duo. They're able to get ahead of zone, but with wood builds, the triple spray might lead to their demise as Merstash, Queasy, and Swizzy have not looked for height yet. They're running low on mats. They're going to get aggressive. Pre-edits come through. Shots connect. Akira gets knocked down. That's a quick refresh for our dominant trio.
That was everything just for that moment's notice, but they still have to deal with Pradaj, Country, and Fincheck up above. Not only that, but Marius, Pixie, Vanya. This could be a devastating blow to any team that happens to run the wrong direction, get caught out by these guys. Pink has been smothered in the low ground. Seti and Yapko are still somehow making this work, but Seti will unfortunately meet his demise. Queasy just waiting at that front side low. Marius, Vanya, they've taken out Bevies. That little bit of Siphon could be the difference here. But Vanya, he still has a few charges left in this Mistform. He's gonna try to get ahead, try to steal some of this other team's med miss grenade, and then crank upwards. It's all about overcoming the real challenge of height, just getting to height in the first place. Queasy building for his life, cranking for his life. But has he done enough to separate? The hero rank up could buy him a little bit of time, but his HP was just too low. He finally gets cleaned up. The dodge force to dash back. Memmis grenade, but he has 0 builds. They invested too much for height, and they couldn't hold it.
Chino for Doxy, looking like they want to take it here. Pushing for a buff as players are falling like flies. Elimination after elimination for Doxy. Chino and Pablo looking like they have the potential to close this match out. Pradaj goes down. Walls being taken. Chino with a double edit connect onto Marius. And with that, they just took home not only a victory royale, but the one with the most eliminations that we've seen yet. I just saw from the side of my eye, 885. I don't even know the total elimination count, but pure domination is what we just witnessed.
A little bit of a trendsetter there for Fradoxy. Those early rotates paying off so much. By the time we made it to this late game transition, everybody was so focused on what was taking place in the high ground. Queasy, Pradaj, all the while, Fradoxy's team just slipping through the cracks, cleaning house in those low and mid ground layers. And it's just impressive still because they're having to scale their way up the mountain in the process, Takada. But whole team having triple misform makes a big difference.
They've done an amazing job to consistently make it to that top 10, but they've been missing that big match, that massive amount of points to push them up the standings, but they've finally done it. They now have gotten the highest elimination match of the day, and I'm excited to see where that puts them on the leaderboard, so let's head to the desk to break that down.
That was a high-risk, high-reward game, and that is what we expect from Fradoxy 11. Finally, a victory royale for the Danes.
Finally, man, we were waiting for a game like this, and we knew they could be the ones to deliver it. And I mean, the audacity, the nerve, the gall to even come into the FNCS Major Finals and just pop off like you're playing an eval or something. These guys are on a different level. It's not been the greatest of days for them, but a game like that will surely kick off the spark.
Yeah, hopefully now that'll allow them to kick on and they can just continue this sort of momentum, because this is exactly what we sort of expected from this trio going into this weekend. The way that they played those mid-ground layers was so good. So many eliminations as well. Very reminiscent of what we saw last major as well. And taking height, that late on, that late push for it is exactly how this trio like to play. And now this is going to be huge for them, as Takata mentioned, so many eliminations there for this trio. So I'm really expecting big things now. Hopefully that does wonders for their confidence.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, for a lot of this year, right, when we've talked about firepower in EU, the trio everybody looks at is Vico, Veno, Flixi. These guys came through and they snatched their chain. Just mad disrespect. They said, we are that trio. We are the team that's going to get you the 20 bombs in finals lobbies. Not just any lobbies, in major finals lobbies. What a game. Look, it doesn't even matter if you're not having a good day, because you have a game like that, and I've not seen the leaderboard yet, but I know they're going to be up there. I know they're going to be visible on it after that game. So, again, this is why, you know, when you have talent like this, you just got to let them cook sometimes. Pablo, Chino, Fradoxy, all of them, things clicking. You love to see it.
I'm just absolutely mesmerized by all these endgame eliminations they're getting on top of the ones they already scored in the mid-game. This is what we want to see from Fradoxy's trio, so hopefully more of it after these few moments.
Spoiler, say right now, I'm thinking, I was going to say Malibuca because he loves his Fortnite, but Malibuca's definitely depressed right now. Who is happy and would thank the bus driver? Panzer. I'm going with Panzer. I have nothing to base that off. I'm going with Panzer. Who was it? Where's the thank the bus driver stat? Is it player stats? It's player stats, right? Where's thank the bus driver? How do I find it? I haven't, wait, is it down here? No. Where is thanking the bus driver? I don't know which one it is. I know you can find it, but I can't remember how. Does someone remember how to find it? I haven't checked it before. I'm not exactly sure where it is. I know it's somewhere on there. That's in team stats? Okay. Oh, so we gotta wait. Wait. Do I have to wait then? Why is it showing my stats? Sorry, help me. I'm technologically challenged, as you know. I need your assistance. Thank you, Jakey, Hoffel. Thank you, M-Bomb. Thank you, 4 with a 10 gifted. Spider, Kyla's, Damo with a 5, Clinks with a 5. Oh my god, what is happening? Thomas, Zai. Thank you, chat. Holy shit. It's all right. I'll just get Knockin to send it to me. Knockin to send it to me. Leaderboards, team stats. Thank you, Drizzy. Leaderboard. Okay, leaderboard. How do I get to team stats from leaderboard? Yo, I'm so fucking stupid. It's actually crazy. Wait, cumulative? No. Yo, I'm dumb as shit. It's actually insane. Search the player, but how do I see it overall? I don't want to search individual players. I need to see what the whole thing is. Can you only search it by individual players? Is that what you're telling me? So we'd have to like check every single one? The donut with the prime, the Osh with the 500 biddies, the M-bomb. Oh, okay. Okay, all right, so we can't check we can't check who's done the most overall then. Oh, you can only check by each team. Okay, never mind then. Well, we'll make an effort of later today. We'll come back later and we'll check the teams individually and see who did the most for EU. I'll find out and tell you. Okay, or you can check now and tell me who it was. Find out now and then tell me. So chat, if you just got here, we're about to go into game 6. 6th and final game of the EU FNCS Grand Finals Day 1. We still have Day 2 tomorrow, and the action doesn't end after EU. We're going from this basically straight into the event where Daigo is about to obliterate Demon's Domain. And we have to then hope that Fortnite does what they said they're going to do and bring Demon's Domain back for Grand Finals for the other regions. We'll see how we go. Yo, Sempol with the 10. What is happening? I appreciate y'all. Again, thank you. I promise I'm going to do my absolute best to make all the sick content you guys wanted. I know we talked about doing a subathon for this Grands, but I genuinely, you guys have been showing so much support that I literally committed to the fact that I'm just going to do them anyway, and doesn't matter how many subs I get, and then you guys go even fucking crazier. I am doing like a 38-hour stream though, so I got you on that one, but all the cool shit you guys want me to do, I'm going to do my best to do it over the next week and a bit before I leave.
Game in order to challenge for the number
I'm hoping
spot.
after this, all the pros will have a bit more free time to do some cool IRL stuff with me.
We did get to see them make it to second place, Miniminer.
Yeah, mature performance from these guys so far. You know, they haven't necessarily had their best day 11. I don't think they would, I'm sure they would be the first to admit that. But what they've been able to do is consistently make these end games. They haven't been too aggressive with eliminations. They haven't been trying to force any refreshes, any of those sort of late game lunges, if you like. But what they have been able to do, very, very consistent. Marius, they're clutching up a little bit to get themselves the second
We are, Riven, yes. Our plan is to bring out a duo and trio version of my map as well, yes. And some other cool versions as well. But we have, Seti Yapko Panzer still in first. But Fredoxy's 21 elimination win. They just dropped half their elims. They have more elims in one game than the majority of teams in the top 10 across 5. Like, oh my god. 329. Then we have Vanya in third, Swizzy and Hriss. Now that top 5 is looking a lot more like we were expecting it would. But Tayson is now getting contested by Rax, so we'll see what that means for them. Maybe.
In a trio FNCS major final.
Ooh, spicy tournament, bro.
Season X in Chapter 1.
That was 150
Fredoxy
point game.
been watching some Peterbot demos, maybe? Miniminer?
Hey, man.
Maybe. 22 next game is all I want to say. You know, let's try and smash that record. I don't want any of this joint activity, but no, it's a great performance from them, and I want to see more from them now leading into tomorrow as well as the last game.
Well, I wonder if Seti, Harry, and iDrop are going to be feeling threatened at the top of the leaderboard now because Fredoxy is on their tail, but they're still
Untouchables.
managing
Thank you
to
for the
remain
5, bro.
consistent level.
Thank you. You guys are amazing.
I mean,
Thank you so
these
much.
guys, going into this last game, they sit in a
now
great
chat.
spot. You know, it's funny.
I've already given this DoorDash driver a good tip, but if he remembered the straw that I asked for, I'm going to give him a gigantic tip. Let's see.
These guys should be so chuffed with how they perform because, you know, many people didn't expect this. Whether or not they can hold on as the lobby adjusts, right? They've had, you know, their fair share of rough moments throughout the day. And so, you know, things aren't clear as
So far, not looking too good. We'll see.
We've seen from how
I didn't order anything that has a straw, but I found that if I drink my water out of the straw, it helps my my tonsils not hurt as much. So I asked for a straw. Let's see if they did it. No, I gave him a solid tip, like.
Yeah, well,
But I will give him like a gigantic one if he actually remembered the straw, because it's going to help me so much. And I specifically, I put it in the notes, so he might have missed it.
So it's going to be really interesting to see how that.
looking like maybe
develops.
no.
Seti's been in these situations.
I wanted to
many
be
times
that
in the past,
guy.
So it's going to be definitely on him to to make sure they stay level-headed, go into this last game with a
Damn.
sort of fresh of mind. And
I still gave him a better tip than I think most people do anyway. I gave him a $12 tip anyway.
So not an ideal performance, but they're staying in it. They're absolutely crashing and burning, which is really important.
So good.
It'll be interesting to see where
Yes.
Trio goes
Okay,
from
chat,
here. They're
okay.
pretty consistent on that leaderboard, sitting in the 4th.
Before you make fun of me, you're all gonna flame me. It's becoming a bit of a meme. Yes, I got 2 orders of pancakes, and I also got a yogurt parfait with whipped cream and maple syrup. But the reason is because I can't eat anything else. I can't eat anything else. With my tonsils on my tongue, I need very soft, easy to eat food right now, and everything I bought to bring to the house is not soft enough. So.
I'd like to hope so, but the
Wait, is that it? Wait, you guys saying that's a?
situation, they've been fine.
Are you guys saying it's a bad tip or a good tip?
Trio.
That's a good tip,
Does
no?
that change tomorrow? Are things going to be the same? If Malibuca's team wakes up and decides...
Tells us a great tip. Okay. But I was gonna get that motherfucker like.
I'm gonna be paying these 2 subscribers $1,000 for every hour they build, but only one of you.
Upon the start of Fortnite Chapter 6 Season 3 Super, the island of Oninoshima has been plunged into a war between the supernovas and the evil forces of the spirit realm. Jam-packed with lore, this season has seemingly kicked Fortnite's storyline back into overdrive and may be a good turning point for the future of the story. Last season, we worked together with the Rebellion to foil Emperor Palpatine's sinister plan to obliterate Oninoshima using a super weapon, the Death Star. Together with Hope and Jones, we infiltrated the space station during the Death Star Sabotage Live event and helped them disable its defenses. This allowed the Blue Squadron to successfully launch their proton torpedoes into the thermal exhaust port of the Death Star and destroy the Empire's super weapon for good. As a result of the Death Star's destruction, debris from the explosion crashed directly into the spirit portal that Daigo was opening. The impact triggered an enormous spirit portal beam that temporarily cracked the loot bubble and sent out a large zero-shard shockwave throughout the entire island. The shockwave made the island's inhabitants temporarily go unconscious, but once they woke up, some of them discovered that they had superpowers. Bringing us to now. This season, Daigo, now known as the Mask Maker, has returned to Oninoshima completely possessed by the Dark Presence itself. Hope and Jones needed all the help they could get to take on Daigo and his forces, so with Midas' sponsorship, they founded Supernova Academy to help train a team of new skilled superheroes. Alongside his return, Daigo has brought back the entire army of the Spirit Realm, but what stands out the most is his new lieutenant, Core. The former mercenary of the Imagined Order has now strangely found herself working for the Dark Presence. However, Core's return isn't the only strange thing that's happened this season. At Utopia City, a portal to the vault can be found beneath what seems to be a shrine of the Zero Point. But the strangeness doesn't even end there either. If you take a closer look at some of the architecture at Supernova Academy and Utopia City, you'll notice that they bear a similar resemblance to the architecture of Brutal Bastion, which happened to be the headquarters of the Reality Warriors. With so many things happening all at once, there are a ton of questions, such as who are the Supernovas, how did the Vault return, are the Reality Warriors returning, what are Kendo and Jade up to, why has Core returned, and what is Mask Maker Daigo's plan? There's so much to explain this season, so sit back, relax, and let's uncover the dark plan of the Mask Maker. Before I start answering the questions, if any of you are curious how the loot bubble returned, I went into detail about that in my previous video, so if you'd like to get all caught up, make sure to check that video out. Now let's get into our first question. Who are the Supernovas? After the Zero Shard shockwave from the Spirit Portal left some of Oninoshima's residents with newfound superpowers, Hope and Jones took the opportunity to create a superhero university to help train those people and decided on naming the university Supernova Academy. The name Supernova may actually be a direct reference to the Death Star exploding because whenever a star dies, that phenomenon is referred to as a supernova. Nevertheless, Midas offered to bankroll this academy and with this sponsorship, the academy was built very quickly in order for the superheroes to be trained immediately to help them master their newly acquired powers and assist in the battle against Maskmaker Daigo. The Supernova's instructors consist of Hope, Jones, the Night Rose, Robin, and Superman. If you ask about how Superman arrived onto the island, he reveals that he accidentally fell through a rift and ended up on the island, similarly to how Batman did in the Batman Fortnite Zero Point comics. And just like Batman, he cannot remember any of his memories prior to the island, confirming that the loop does indeed exist on Oninoshima. Although his arrival was not intentional, he still wants to help
up and make up for the lost time, but it's something that some veterans could definitely rise to the challenge for.
100%. I'm excited to see how it plays out. Here for Major 3. So currently sitting in 8th place. The job is not even close to finished.
Physics and Dendafuzo. Howley, a little bit caught up here, but they are able to come out on top. It's only at the expense of Physics, but a double revive. Close that one out, no problem. Lixium's team, unfortunately, just getting a little bit of a taste of what a set finals lobby experience is like. And yeah, they're not the only one. Pablo, Fredoxy, Chino, they've struck yet again. They're sick of playing through the surge-based methods. These early rotates have been gnarly for the other teams.
That's a big elimination, though, taking out your competition, quite literally. The trio that's currently in the #1 spot. One of the players now has been taken down by the 2nd place trio. Coming from that win, they are on fire, and Panzer is doing what he can to stay hidden.
Oh no, Panzer is so trapped inside of that bush. He's gonna lose so much time in this final lobby, Takada. And we don't even know where Seti is at just yet either. Like, it's only Panzer trying to stay hidden. Maybe Seti can look for a lone play of a reboot, but Panzer's got to hope that the distraction is steeper. Nebs, Kyoto, Pink, they also want to maintain themselves in the conversation for that leaderboard consistency and finding that early elimination. Nice look to start the game off.
Yeah, not too bad, but just the start for Pink, Kiro, and Nebs. Marius, on the other hand, making use of their efficient kind of early game strategy, per se, where some of them will be doing the surge damage, others will be looting, others will be getting extra heals, mats, whatever it could be to maximize that efficiency. But Reason has to be careful. He's lost Mr. Savage. Wheat looking to close it out now as they push up to Reason. No shield to work with. 5 bullets in the shotgun. 5 wooden builds left. For Reason to clutch this one up, he's gonna need to hit the shots of his life.
Oh, cut short on that attempt, but it's a solid effort. Just not quite able to make the recovery that they were amping for, but Panzer and Seti, they've managed to somehow escape the clutches of Fredoxy's team. And Sinet and Nafizi, Wheat, if they're not careful, it's not like Nafizi is the healthiest player by any means here, Takada. This could definitely be turned against them. But for Wheat, you just see, we'll look back now on how Savage exactly went down and the rest of his team. They were just a little bit too extended. Sinet and Nafizi did a really good job at approaching from separate angles, and Wheat just hoping to really seal the deal.
Yeah, they took the time now that they were able to heal back up, so only hope here is that they walk through this bush and able to pick up a quick knock, and Wheat might be the victim, but quickly enough the regroup comes through. But I see a potential here. Hiding in the bush, it's a matter of time.
They want to make sure that the players are split enough from each other that this is going to be a freebie, and Wheat just barely managing to cut across. He's still standing somehow, some way, and now Sinead Nafrizi immediately called to action. They're going to be sure to back up their boy however necessary, and Panzer Seti, it was a valiant effort there, Takada. But that one just runs dry, and they're going to have to just look elsewhere. They're going to have to fall back and get away from where we and them are at.
A quick side note, I saw on the feed for Doxy, not only did they take out Yapko at the start, but I just saw them take out Pixie as well. The #1 and #3 trio going on the receiving end from what's looking like a potentially incredibly strong trio. But actually, now that I think about it, it might have just been a trade from the base. But either way, looking quite strong.
Oh, same can't be said though for Akira. Nice pickup though from Nebs. And now Akira, Pink, still playing on these outskirt positions, north side of the map. They might be able to track down Werex. Instead, kind of recognizing that they do want to start getting a move on with their rotate. Seti and Panzer though revisiting Lone Wolf Lair. Caught up one more time with Ferdoxy, Pablo, and Chino. How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, Panzer? He's now trying to see if he can escape the fray. Pablo inside of the building, though, looking to try and cut Panzer off. Approaching from that flank. Dash just a little bit too far forward. Seti retreating back inside of Lone Wolf Lair, playing on the opposite end of it. And Panzer has been eliminated, so it's all down exclusively to Seti. And this is exactly what Chino, Pablo, and Ferdoxy were after. They're looking to take matters into their own hands, control their own narrative. They missed out last major, and they're not looking for that to be a repeat in this one, Takada. Because when your first place competition is down and out for the count, and the next team after you is at 288 points compared to your 341, this could be a crazy runaway moment there for Ferdoxy's team. But Axe4, CZB, Nathan, they're still caught in the midst of an awkward battle.
Looks like it's calmed down for a moment. Axe Force now gonna pop that miss for him. CZB gonna follow shortly behind them. Disengage will come through. Eliminations from both ends of the pact here. And Robin said, okay, I'll let you go, but not without taking a bit of damage. As now closing the gap, looking for what I would say were angles, but with the amount of aggression coming from Robin, I think he wants more than just a couple tags here as the pursuit is on.
It's just a classic 2 versus 2. Who can outlast the other? But Axe4 is prepared to fight. Definitely knows what's coming. CZB, a little bit too split. Trying to make sure that he doesn't get trapped between the two. Robin, it's gonna be the Memphis grenade. And now it's down to Kylie. See if he can apply a little bit of pressure from a separate line of sight. But Axe4, CZB, they're playing hip to hip. They're not looking to take any chances here. They're deep inside of the storm. They know if they win this exchange, they'll be able to make a play for the reboot. And Axe4 whiffs the shot. The pump not gonna connect. He'll be forced to misform away. And Robin, Kylie still looking to give chase. But now it's CZB who might be a little bit too exposed. He's scrambling, looking to get away from Kylie and Robin as quickly as possible. But Robin just relentless. And CZB, Axe4, their last Memphis grenade has just been used. Kylie and Robin are out for a vengeance here, though. And Kylie, he's nearly connected every single time here, but instead turned one more time into CZB's favor. Robin has fallen, and now CZB could potentially come up clutch. Instead, it's Kylie who's taken the Bears completely back into his team's favor. Axe4 will finally close this one out. And Kylie still lingering. Doesn't want to let Axe4 get this revive going, but Skvi, Trulex, and Teeny, they're going to be the real victors of this exchange right now, Takada.
Or are they? As they choose to take the rotate instead of fight. As Trulex continuing to go on ahead.
Rotate, though.
That's going to be a while from now, though, with the amount of distance that they have to make. Axe4 seems to have picked up CZB. At least they know now that no more third party is close by with a big shot from Kylie. Has that 1v2 disadvantage, but with the shots being connected, could turn around. The issue is Kylie's just giving them so much time to heal up, pop the chugs. Uh-oh. A potential angle from CZB. Now denied, as Kylie is going to ultimately get taken out. No more materials to work with. Axe for CZB finish up the fight and now make their way to zone once again.
Kylie and Robin, they were just looking to try and claw their way back into some solid leaderboard contention for ending the day. That's why you go for these off-spawn battles and whatnot, but really well played here. I don't think that Chino and Pablo have any intentions of slowing down for their elimination counts. 21 in the last lobby as a team, and with 5 already Takada in this 6th game, it is kind of insane to think about what kind of precedent they might be setting here.
The pressure is on. The good news is all these teams have another full day of 6 matches, so despite a potential poor finish here in day 1, they have a whole other day to get that comeback. For Chicho, Tace, and Haris, though, not as much to worry about in 5th place, but already being qualified to the Global Championship. What they want is a 1st place finish here. Queasy, Swizzy, Merstash, due to the zones, do have the luxury of being able to just kind of base up on their drop spot at Demon's Domain.
But the tags just kind of poking into their sides, certainly going to be annoying to deal with. Still, they have a pretty big advantage right now, just based off the way that the zones have been pooling. They haven't really had to venture too far away from Demon's Domain, but that could also be working against them, Takada, because they haven't really had the opportunity to kind of push outwards and try to see if they can apply a little bit of surge damage onto the teams surrounding the outside of Demon's Domain, basically. So I am very interested to see what their surge actually ends up looking like, because we know it's going to be a problem for some of these teams.
100%. Rico, Venoflixi, they have been running into trouble at the start of these end games. Kind of forced into shambles without enough damage, forcing a lot of mats to be used, and just not really having everything they need to close out a big game.
At the end of the day, though, it's still Veno. And as long as Veno is around, there is always going to be some kind of mastermind strategy that comes into play. Whether it happens in this final lobby today, Takada, or it's something that we witness come day 2, I just never count that trio out for anything. No matter what the initial performance might appear to seem like. Hottie, Cammy, iDrop, though, you have to kind of look at it as almost like a double whammy there for Cammy. You're seeing the huge successes of Seti. It's almost like that additional pressure being applied, because you know that the public perception is going to be which of these two got the better end of the deal. And right now, it's coming up so clearly, Seti, that it's just got to linger on the back of your mind. But Cammy's such an experienced competitor too. I'm sure it's pressure that he knows how to handle.
100%. And that will be shown in day 2 as Cantry, Pradaj, and Fincheck. We've seen them a lot, but they've yet to kind of make a name for themselves on the top end of the leaderboard here. As if they run into Fredoxy, Pablo, and Chino now, maybe once again it'll get shut down. The amount of aggression coming from this team, 2,100 surge above.
It's less about Pradaj running into Pablo and more Fredoxy, Pablo, and Chino chasing them down. They have consistently been a thorn in the side all day long for Pradaj's team. And the only relief, really, that Pradaj has experienced has been when Fredoxy has opted to go for more aggressive challenges to teams that he views as challenging their position on the leaderboard. We're looking at the approach towards Veno at Brutal Boxcars, Game 4, last lobby. And I think that it's just very tough to kind of read what Fredoxy is actually cooking right now, because they've shifted their focus so many different times that none of the teams nearby Supernova Academy have any idea where they're planning on heading first.
Looking over to Marius, Pixie, Vanya. I mean, they're at the top end of the leaderboard, but I feel like they have yet to get that big match as well. They've gotten some seconds, some thirds, but they've been lacking the kind of full trio chemistry. Either one gets picked off, they're forced to play as a duo, so I'm still waiting for that big match. I mean, they've played more than well enough to keep consistent and be in the top 3, but we want that first place from a trio of that caliber. Kararma left alone, getting kicked by Surge, 30 below, despite the spare minis. Still not a position you want to see yourself in.
Far south zone pool, though, is always going to be very difficult for these teams, hugging more towards that northern section of the map to kind of catch up towards. It's Karama trying to keep the hopes and dreams alive here for his trio, but 106 below. Surge consistently forcing him into having to split his focus between using all of these small shield potions and just running into edge of zone. Even as a solo, it's only a matter of time here, Takada, before somebody happens to look back and sees Karama just sprinting for dear life to try and make it into the safety of zone.
Yeah,
he had 9 mini shield potions, by the way. And now he's down to his last 3.
Not anymore, Taco, as he's forced to use the last minis, 169 below. He's kind of hoping to maybe find a solo, a duo, because if it's a full trio that sprays him, it's not going to be enough. With the position he's in, he has to overbuild. He has no option to conserve materials here. It's all or nothing. Full build in zone, hard mats, do what you can to stay up, but when you have to focus on getting damage at the same time, it makes it that much more difficult. Tayson Chicho, though, great pickup here. Some extra loot, as they have a massive kind of section here in the low.
They have completely caved out this low ground and tunneled so far. But look, on the other end of the tunnel, though, Swizzy, Queasy, and Merstache. And the way that Queasy already scouting, trying to take note of what exactly it looks like closer to the high ground. All he needs to do is just wait to see for Swizzy and Merstache. They're going to go ahead and dump as much of their heals as possible towards their IGL. They know that when it comes to the high takes, they're probably going to commit a lot of material because they understand the fact that this is a pretty open space to work with, Takada.
It really is. I'm excited to see something happen from Vico Venoflixi here. You can see they're just looking for an opportunity as any trio decides to make a rotation here. Now come some opportunities. No shots being connected yet.
Just the calm before the storm, really. As Jewel, Ghost, Hyper, not able to withstand a little bit of the lobby focus from inside of their Surge base. Too close for comfort. And at this point, you can definitely anticipate teams to key if they get a knock. But Belusi, Zangi, could potentially be promising for them. They look like they were posturing for trying to take over high ground. Pablo, Prodoxy, everybody so distant though compared to where True Lex V and Teeny were at.
Here it comes, the pre-edits from iDrop, Cammy, and Ari. Unable to find the quick shot though. Above them, Zangi, they heard the crack come through. They know the pressure's onto them. A triple spray potentially to drop down one of their opponents could be the play here, or even just a full drop down. They're in the perfect position to triple spray them though, but they just need a bit of damage. Rax gets knocked, but iDrop gets full eliminated to Storm Surge without even giving his teammates the opportunity to pick him back up.
And they're still sitting 112 below, and the gap just continues to increase. Howdy gonna have to take a moment here now to just play through this shield potion, absorb a handful of ticks. He doesn't have a misform to actually immune the damage. He's just gonna have to take a fight and hope that it pans out in his favor. Right now, though, Chug Jug still in motion, 3 medkits to boot. If he does get eliminated, that might be a huge play for the heal off in these final moments. If a team is able to collect those goodies from him, but at least for right now, Hadi still managing to push through. Jumps in onto where Flixi and Vico are at, but this duo might be a little bit too much to handle, and they're not going to give him the chance even. Hadi now forced to try and play out some of these medkits, just praying for placements and any kind of bailout. Awkward wraparound for him too.
Yeah, it's a tough position to be in. A similar tough position as Merstash and Queasy are now in after they lost Swizzy, forced to recuperate a bit of the dashes, but with just 29 HP, one shot could be enough to take Merstash out. He's gonna have a bit of time to pop the Chug Jug now, but seems that he's split up from Queasy. 5 builds is all that he has left. Medmist gonna be popped, no more shields, everything going downhill for this trio despite them pulling zone to their drop spot. The double-edged sword has not ended in their favor.
Malibuka choosing to not contest Queasy early on is definitely showing in the surge numbers. It's hard to, reroute your initial starting plan when 5 games in a row you were dealing with that all-spawn contest initially, but Veno, Flixie, they're just targeting completely, cutting through the center of zone even, and everyone else too preoccupied with just trying to stay standing on their own 2 feet. So many of these teams are just being split into solos and duos, and just like that, end of the road here for Merstash and Queasy as they get picked apart approaching from the backside of zone.
Up above it is going to be Trexer, but for our kings of what I would say this match and potentially the whole lobby, if they get a good enough placement, it's Chino, Pablo, and Fredoxy doing what they can as a duo to close this match out. Incredible pickups coming through. That's a risky refresh to go for. They understand the danger, and they're going to leave it.
They've got to make that early play onto Lone Wolf and eliminating Seti's trio worth it. Even as a duo, they can still capitalize from that mid-ground position, but it will be tough. The road ahead has got Atris, Chicho, and Tayson also maneuvering through it all the while. Cheatin', Mappy, Trexer still holding on to high ground, but Pablo, Chino, directly underneath. A couple more charges left in this misform. Pablo just looking for an opening. Chino right next to him. Got to make sure, even as a two-man party here, they still have to hold their back guard, but they're also going for the pre-ed, and they find it onto Splik. But they can't make it to the body just yet. They have to wait. Pablo is going to be the first one to jump through. He's got a little bit of Siphon here, the misform too. And Chino and Pablo, they're trying to make sure that they do everything in their power to leapfrog that first place position on the leaderboard. We got to hone in a little bit closer to what's been happening on the ground here with Chicho, Tayson, and Atris, because they are clearing out space.
They got to be careful though, because Vico Benoflixi had an incredible rotate with the misform to take the front side of low, so they have full control now of it. As Chino is left alone, Pablo's been knocked down. 46 builds are left. It's more than enough to clutch up a good bit of placement, but you got to be careful if you go second high. The pressure will be on you. A full trio right under Chino, forced to make tough decisions as now Tayson, Chicho, Haris are doing what they can to take that front side of low ground, and it looks like they might have just done it.
Something about the second half of today's games that's just completely been locked in here for Tayson, Atris, and Chicho. They've also found a knock onto Sandgilt, splitting that trio apart, but it comes at a cost. Tayson has been eliminated. It's now down exclusively to Atris and Chicho to keep replicating some of their consistency success throughout the course of today's matches, but Chino, as a solo, still rolling through this lobby. He needs another refresh, though, some more mobility of that misform. Big tag, but it's not going to connect enough to translate towards a knock. He needs the Siphon refresh, but he gets cleaned up. He can't push any further.
Good news for Chicho. He's got a Chug Jug, he's got Biggs, he's got more than enough heals, but even better news for Sheet and Trexer and Mappy. They're up above, more healthy than ever. Not a single contestation coming through, but the issue is running quite low on mats. Seems to be a full trio right under them. Demon Storm picks. Are they going to want that high ground position? Volko's been knocked. Cheatin getting closer and closer, applying that pressure. Does not want to give picks Demus and Darm any bit of air as they continue to take those shots and get ahead. But no eliminations coming through, as I might have spoken through soon. Demus gets knocked down. Cheatin gets right into the action, as all he needs to do is hit a few more shots.
Cheatin just gonna get up close and personal now, but Mappy, he's gotta follow through, chasing out, trailing Giddus, knows that misform's gonna exit eventually, and he's not gonna let this heal happen. But Giddus, it comes at a steep price there for Mappy. He will trade his life to give Cheatin and Trexer the best odds possible. Cheatin trying to see if he can track down Darm. Darm healing for his life currently, and Cheatin, wasn't able to actually take those 2 medkits towards Trexer, but Trexer was able to get to the body anyway. And Darm has to chase overhead.
He got the medkits.
Darm's actually going to be able to steal those ones away, and now Trexer, will he be able to withstand the heal off? It's exclusively down to who might get Storm Sickness first here, Takada. That'll be the real difference maker. Darm starting to try and evade the damage, but it's too much to handle. They can't overcome, and Trexer just confirming Game 6 Victory Royale with the heal off.
Storm Sickness got the best of DMS, Darm, and Pix, and Trexer wanted it more than ever, coming shortly before from a 3rd place finish. Almost
Heal off.
Let me see what it was for the prediction and for the channel points.
DMS, Darm, and Pix, and Trexer wanted it more than ever.
Amazing music choice. Thank you. The YouTube gang is very confused right now what that was all about. Okay, I didn't have Pix, Darm, and Damus. I took them off because they were con. So the deal? No, I don't have a deal either. Tayson in 6th, I think, for the prediction. Tayson in 6 is the highest for the prediction. Wow.
I'm sure we're gonna see them in the top 10.
All right, Zach, for the last V-Bug giveaway of EU, we're still going to do for Central and West. It's going to be Mappy. M-A-P-P-I. Mappy.
Definitely needed to close out today's matches with a strong placement finish like they did.
Let's see his leaderboard. Now, remember, chat, the action isn't over yet. We still have NA Central and NA West grands today, but we also have the event. The doors open in 7 minutes. So if you want to see Demon's Domain get absolutely yeeted, and we finally get to see the Kraken event, stick around, okay? It's going to be very fun. I'll be jumping in and watching on full high quality. I won't be yapping through the whole thing. So if you want to actually watch the event and you're not at your setup and you don't have an ability to watch it, I got you.
That you've done everything in your power leading to that heal off circumstance.
Thank you, Temp. Thank you, Exalt, Mystics.
Yeah, 100%.
Amatel, Holstein, Orbs, Asaya, Pork. Thanks, guys.
They only had 1 match.
So if you guys want to miss some V-Bucks, type the word Mappy in chat. It's the last one of EU. We are going to run them after every game's Essential and West, though.
Than enough. That is it for Taco and I in the Castle booth. We'll be back tomorrow for more
KXL posting the zones.
Before
nice.
we close this out, we have to go right back over to Frankie, Levin, and Mini.
All right, 10 more seconds, chat, and then we'll call it.
Thinking right now.
Thank you so much, Taco and Takata. And I'm thinking the high ground has it. Every single trio that's won a Victory Royale today has asserted dominance on the high ground at some point and pretty much dominated it for most of the end game. Mappy's trio being no different, Levin.
Absolutely. Look, they were the team that won the
All right, we'll call their chat. Thank you for entering.
Of Group 3 last weekend, and they win the final game.
Wait, that's what Mappy looks like? I didn't know what Mappy looked like.
The ability to win games in this manner, and what a time to do it, Mini.
Yeah, perfect. Sets them up nicely here now for day number 2. Wasn't their dream day 1.
The doors open in 5 minutes.
Of life and brilliance in these end
How to load into the event? I think they're just going to make it a game mode. I'll show you once we get to it, but that's on 20k viewers. Thank you, man. And shout out YouTube as well. The YouTube stream's been absolutely popping today. Freaking 10,000 average. I love y'all.
Day 2, having that confidence, some of the teams would have dropped a little bit. Some of the teams would have risen up and gone up in the leaderboard and in the standings, but it's all about...
I think it's a mini event? Oh, no, it's a pretty big event, bro. It's literally yeeting an entire PY and then like building up the storyline coming into the new season. They've definitely been hyping it up like a main event, dude. They've done multiple leaks and teasers for it, so
major players, the movers and
they've been teasing it for like a week now.
In this lobby, because Frodoxy, Pablo, and Chino, they really turn things around towards the end of the day, Mini.
Oh, you mean it's a mini event in the sense it's not its own game mode, it's just in BR. Gotcha, yes. Okay, sorry, gotcha. Yep.
Who they were, I guess, in terms of what they were capable of. And then, of course, that 21 elimination game, that was huge for them. They had another huge game before that. And even this one, it's another solid end game. And to be honest, in their position, I'm sure we'll have a look at the leaderboard. They just need to keep these games coming, Levin. Keep these end games.
Yo, what's up, Clicks? I think it's same. 4 minutes, bro. 4 minutes. I think same as last time. Whatever you did last time, Clicks, was literally perfect. Whatever you did last time when you asked me it's exactly that. You literally had it within like seconds.
Trio FNCS history, then yeah, I'd be feeling pretty
good luck today, broski.
So I'm sure they're feeling great right now. To be honest with you, yeah. Look, this is a team who we know what they're capable of. They showed it to us last season. But now,
okay, chat, here we go. Going into day 2. Remember, no multiplier. Is the same format tomorrow. We have Chino, Pablo, and Frodoxy in first on 394. Already qualified to land, though. Seti, Yapko, Panzer in second on 350. Chris, Tayson, and Chicho 295. Vanya, Pixie, Marius 288. Swizzy, Queasy, Mustache 2715. Phenomenal teams all within reach, all uncontested is going to be sick to watch. Holy, that's going to be sick. So who has the land spot? Actually, we'll check after. We'll check afterwards. I want to see who has the land spots and who doesn't. I forgot. I think it's yes, no, yes, yes, yes,
You know, popped off with
no,
so many
yes.
last major, then you sort of get used to seeing them winning games. But look, it's always tough to draw hard conclusions in the sand on day one. The one thing I will say about this team is that they are primed to have a good day too. I think they're a team that, again, when you don't have to
There's
worry
4
too
land
much
spots this
about
season,
being
chat.
contested.
4
I know
land spots.
Queasy was joking about landing, practicing drops at Flooded Frogs and whatnot. But
He's salty,
considering,
yes.
they can probably be safe in being uncontested tomorrow. Again, they've been able to survey the lobby, get a feel for how to get damage around them. And I think they'll be able to make it into end games a lot more stacked tomorrow's games.
A trio that seemed to have the measure of the lobby from the start was Tayson, Chicho, and Haris. They nearly got 2 victory royales tonight. They are quietly consistent and they're ferocious when they're on form.